I have one. It's another journey, and today's guest is a singer, songwriter, dancer, musician, and recording artist. They began their career as lead vocalist for the boy band No Authority, which was signed to Michael Jackson's label MJJ Music and later to Madonna's label Maverick Records. The band released several successful singles and toured with major artists like Britney Spears and Destiny's Child. After No Authority disbanded, our guest pursued a solo career, releasing albums such as Manipulator and A New Alpha. I'll say no more, because it's his journey, not mine. But I welcome Ricky Rebel to the journey.
Hello.
Hello. Now, obviously, I get many guests, and many guests like to explain how their journey began. But what was it that was for you that kick-started your journey?
When I was a kid, I loved to do gymnastics. I started off doing gymnastics, and my dream was to fly. I wanted to fly. I told my parents, so they started taking me into gymnastics classes, and I started to get better and better at it to the point where I was training for the Olympics. Like I placed like 13th in the state of California, and there was a lot of pressure. Um, Competition, to be perfect. You want a perfect 10.
Hmm.
So they decided to put me into dance class in order to keep me doing gymnastics. A lot of gymnasts do that. They go into dance classes. And I had such a freeing experience when the first time I took dance class. And so that started my journey into the arts of singing and dancing. And I've always admired Madonna, Michael Jackson, but really Madonna at a very young age. I saw her performing uh, like a virgin, and she was rolling around in the wedding dress. And I just remember thinking that she was messing up because I was so used to being perfect. Everything had to be, I had a perfectionist way of looking at life, and here she is like rolling around and doing something bad, doing something, not singing very well, not singing perfectly, not dancing perfectly. I'm like, what is this? I really like it. I really love how pretty she looks, how beautiful she is, and how sexy and free she is. And
Hmm.
so that's what made me want to pursue that feeling.
And as you said, Madonna over the years, I followed her because I was born in 83. She hasn't aged much. She's still the same look as she was when I remember when I was a child. And, many people would attest to the saying the fact that she hasn't aged much.
Yeah, she has a young spirit. I remember seeing her live recently on the Celebration tour, and I was so moved by her performance. I was like crying like a little baby, just tears. Sometimes listening to her sing her ballads and uh, you know, being lifted up in the air during Ray of Light. And a lot of people made fun of her on TikTok. They called her grandma and whatnot, but they just cut really close to her and didn't show like how high up in the air she really was.
Hmm.
You have to be kind of careful when you're that high, you fall. But they just clip it to see like that's how she's dancing on the floor, right? On the regular
Yeah.
level. And they call her grandma. And I just think it's really rude because she's really pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable age-wise for an artist and for people in general as a society to look at our ageism, how incredibly ageist we are as a
Mm.
society. And
Yeah. And
she,
you hit the nail on the head about ageism. People are quick to define age nowadays because, you know, even if you are, I'm not saying it intentional, but when you are older, you're still young inside. The
yeah,
fire's still inside you.
your spirit is the
Yeah.
same age. It's ageless. So we tell people you're too old for this, or I've had so many people come up to me and say, "Oh, I love what what you're wearing, but I'm too old for that." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You can wear that." Or I love the color of your hair when I used to do all kinds of crazy colors. They'd be like, "I'm too old for that." I'm like, "No, you're not."
It's the same, like you said, clothes, hair, style. I got my hair as it is at the moment. This is the longest I've let it grow. But 10 years ago, it might not suited me. But as I got older, I think it just suits me more because I look, wild with it, but I look suitable for it.
Yeah. We got to do what makes us happy, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.
So going into, obviously, you got, signed on to the Madonna's label Maverick Records. That must have been a good feeling when you was obviously when you was no with no authority to be part of Maverick Records.
I remember when I got the call from the PR agent, he whispered it on the phone. He said, "I got to tell you something. You're not going to believe me. You're not going to just sit down when I tell you this. Madonna is interested in your group. She's going to buy you out of the deal you have with Sony Records, Michael Jackson's label. She's going to buy you out and she's going to sign you guys and she's going to put you on tour with Britney Spears." I flipped. I It was just a beyond imagination feeling inside that I'll never forget. Uh my two idols of all time, Michael Jackson and Madonna, I had were basically at one point in my life were my boss, my bosses. And you can't get any better um just recognition of your own talent because those people wouldn't have signed us if they didn't believe that we had talent. And they're the most talented people in the business, I believe.
Yeah.
And for her to recognize that in me is has really been something that I've kept in my heart my whole life, really. And once I accomplished both of those things, making a record with Michael Jackson and then making it and releasing an album with Madonna, I said to myself, this is something that no one can take away from me ever in my whole life. And it's going to feel just as powerful now until the day I die. And I'm always going to, some people are like, oh, what have you done lately? What have you done last month? I'm like, well, baby, I will forever be a person who was hired by Michael Jackson and Madonna and signed to both of their labels. Thank you. Forever.
Like shut the door. Thank you.
Done.
Bye-bye.
Living legends of all time.
Exactly, and I agree. I haven't met Michael Jackson obviously because he's no longer sadly with us, but Madonna I haven't even met either. But I've met, a few artists in my time, like I've met Ashlee, and I met, several people in England when I was in England. But, it's not the same feeling. And until you actually get them actually talking to you direct, or if you get recognized by the fact, you don't get that excited until you get that recognition.
Exactly. Yeah. Until you're
Like-
face to face with them.
Yeah, it's like when I've interviewed people on podcasts. I don't always read a bio. I don't always have a script because I like to be natural as possible. Now, I've interviewed a few people over the few years I've been doing podcasts. I've looked at the bio afterwards and I thought, wow, I've interviewed that person. But I treat them individually because I believe they are individuals.
Right. Right. We have our,
I don't go, ooh, and go fangirly or fan based over it. But when they tell me, oh, I was in such film or I was in such TV show, and I look back and I think, it leaves me breathless.
yeah, that's so cool.
So going into your solo career, because obviously you moved away from the band, did
Yeah.
you feel like that was the ultimate decision that made you feel like you was in a stronger place to go independent?
I was kind of forced to go independent. Um, the music industry took a real big hit during that time. It was like the 9/11 era, and the music industry died. So they weren't signing people anymore for a while. And it's just kind of a dead industry.
Hmm.
So at that time, I started to just take, my career in my own hands, and I learned how to produce music myself and not really rely on uh, producers like Rodney Jerkins. Um, I couldn't, you know, can't afford him. Quite frankly, at that time, we were just, you know, had everything paid for by the label, the tour, everything. So everything was on me now, and I became my own record label and started uh, writing my own music that I've always wanted to make. I picked up my guitar, I learned how to play the guitar. I learned Pro Tools and Ableton, and I don't know if Ableton was there at that time, but I learned Ableton later. But basically, went through all of that nerd journey. It's a nerd journey. It's no more like ballet, jazz, performance, opera, singing, uh, type of education. It became more about plugins and EQs and compression and all kinds of nerdy things. So I do have like a nerdy scientist side to me. Um, I just don't like it when I'm too much of the scientist. Like I really find joy in my heart when I'm performing live more than anything else in the world, or being on set when you're acting. Um, any type of lights, camera, action moment where you have to be on and the pressure's there and you're scared and you're nervous and then you just let it go.
Yeah.
That I'm addicted to that. So, but being locked in your room, you can't really get that type of adrenaline. Except when the computer doesn't work and then you want to smash it against the wall, let your
Yeah.
anger out.
Yeah. The
So
smash the computer screen moment where you think it's not working. It's like, when I'm recording sometimes, I see it go green and pixelated, and I'm thinking, oh no. And don't
the
get
work.
me wrong, I know Zoom's good and I know other software is good, but the fact is, when you're thinking it's green, and then when you go back to it afterwards and you think, where was the green? Because it actually doesn't come out, but when you're recording, it's all green and pixelated, and it's like, it
Yeah.
throws me because I'm thinking, panicking in my mind, I got to do this over and over. But seriously, when I come to edit, it's natural.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Wild.
I feel like grabbing the screen when it has gone green. I don't show it on interview, but it's like, but
When you're editing, you mean it
yeah,
green, gets
yeah.
green.
So it's like my screen stays normal, so you see my screen as it is now. That's fine.
Yeah.
I see your screen, I see your background. That's fine.
Yeah.
Your screen could easily go green, pixelated, alien-fied, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes to when I save it and upload it, it's not green and pixelated, so I don't know what's going on.
I mean, it's a whole other, computers are just a whole other alien language, and they have a mind of their own, I believe.
Yes.
When Mercury is in retrograde, I have the hardest time sometimes with technology, and it's a real thing. Recently, this last Mercury in retrograde really screwed with my technology to the point where every plugin was like not working. Every plugin, every effect I wanted, not available, not available. And you pay quite a bit of money
Mm.
for each plugin, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm paying this much money for this. This better effing work. It's it's just annoying because I want to work. I have so much music I'm doing at the moment, and I'm excited to share with the world. I have a disco project I'm working on with my closest friends of my whole life, Wayne Folks and Jonathan Fairchild. We're doing a disco project called SDVM, Super Deluxe Vibe Machine. So I'm working on that project. Disco music. I'm going to be DJing. So it's a different another thing I have to learn, a new art form.
Yeah.
I like to push myself and do new things, and DJ is like the next evolution, the natural evolution of my craft. And definitely going to be dancing a lot too in our sets as well. Like I don't just want to DJ, I definitely want to perform. But it's yeah, I'm doing that project, and then I have a single coming out called Right Again, Right, Right Again, and it's about a relationship that I messed up in the past, and that I'm going to do what I can to make it right again. And it's a very sensual, soft, Sade kind of vibe,
Mm.
very different than what I've done in the past.
That
So
is amazing, and it just shows no matter how many skills you got, and like I said, I got a few skills, and you got loads of skills. It doesn't matter because you can always learn. Every day is a learning day.
it is, and it makes your brain uh not regress or
Yeah,
it
true.
keeps your brain young. Like we talked about being young,
Yeah.
keeps your brain alive. You have to push yourself to try new things always and
Yeah.
elevate yourself.
So when that single comes out, would it be out on any platforms that you know of that you can say yet?
Yeah, I released it through my record label, Ricky Rebel Entertainment, and I put it out on all of the platforms, the music platforms like iTunes, Spotify, YouTube Music, everything all at
So
once.
search for Ricky Rebel when that comes out, and even look it out now is my suggestion because there is probably songs out there already, and people
Yeah,
should listen now.
I've got a ton of music on Spotify and iTunes because I made like 4 albums probably now, 4 albums. And
That's
there are
good.
little gems in each of them if you kind of listen to them. I really think that if people took the time to listen to my music, because my music is very eclectic. I have a wide range of styles in it, like lots of 80s influences, Prince, a lot of Prince influence. I
Mm.
love Prince, a lot of Bowie influence, a lot of Madonna influence. Um, and you put it all together and create your own sound. And that's been the most challenging thing, I think, as an artist is to kind of, okay, you love these people, but you don't want to copy them. You want to be an authentic version of yourself, find your own voice. So I think an artist spends a lot of their life, like the first half of their life, like figuring out who they really are as a sound. That can take, for me, it's taken me however long it's taken me, decades
Yeah.
to be comfortable with my sound and my voice, not try to sound like somebody else is really important.
And I believe that as well with any songwriter and any songs that are out there. If it's the original, it is the original. But when you are out there new, and this goes for anyone, try to be the true self of yourself is the key to making the music. And that's what, I'm not saying TV reality shows like Pop Idol or in England, American's Got Talent, it's got to be natural. Now you do have these reality TV shows and they manufacture you to be a certain way, but I just don't feel like that's being authentic you.
No. And I think that's a route for certain people to take because that is who they are. They're little, like not little, they could be big karaoke singers, they can
Mm.
be very good at just singing other people's music and just doing it, right? I I have to really love a song in order for me to remake it, and I don't really love that many songs that much in order to do that. Sorry.
That's okay. But
Because I think to
that's your
myself,
own personal choice.
does that make sense? Like well, maybe I love it too much. I'm like, no, you did that. That is you, and I can't possibly, you know,
Like you couldn't replicate
and
Madonna's
that
Like a
it's me.
Virgin.
Yeah, it's like I feel inauthentic with that. But I think a lot, like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm all for the Kelly Clarksons, the Adam
Mm.
Lamberts who could just sing anything at any time. I'm just not that way. Even in the club, like, they'll be playing all these songs and everyone's like, yeah, every single song, just like, into it. And I'm like, okay, I'll be back there like this because I'm not that into it. I mean, I love it. It's fine. I get it,
But you just don't get into the groove.
But then when that song comes on that I want, oh, I can't hold it in. And I just start dancing more, you know, they like, people just go like, what the heck's going on? Because I lose myself in it. But it
Yeah.
takes a lot for me. Like I call it the goosebumps, like
Mm.
it gives me goosebumps. I'll listen to like certain people. Who else gives me goosebumps recently that I've just been totally obsessed with? Patti LaBelle. I'll listen to Patty and I'll get like these goosebumps, just certain times, certain songs. But I'm very, you know, p particular with that. Uh, but I think there are a lot of cool singers out there that could just pick anything up as if they were actors and just sing their lines and they do their lines and they do it believably. But I'm more of a person I need to write my script. I
Mm.
need to write, this is how I feel. This is what the actor's going to say. I'm more like a director slash producer type, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Who can sing these songs, but I have to like, this is what he's going through. This is otherwise I'm just not feeling the song.
I feel that.
People know it. And my mom even points it out. She's like, you're not feeling that song. When I was in the boy band, she's like, I could tell you're not really feeling the song, Ricky. You gotta sell it. You gotta like, Mom, I feel like such a fraud. I don't like this. This is
And you can tell by those sort of songs as well. You say when you sing it, you can actually hear it in the song sometimes how the singer performs if they really into it because they could show their full
it's a
when they put
vibration.
when they put the falsetto on, you can tell.
You feel it, right?
Yeah,
Did you say the word falsetto
yeah,
in particular, right? When people can
yes.
go falsetto
Mm,
for real. And that's what I'm doing a lot in my music, actually. I'm really getting into my falsetto and embracing it, embracing that softer tone
yeah.
to my voice. When Gaga goes falsetto recently, she sang a song recently, and I was like, ooh, chills like up and down my body. When the artist is not pushing, that's something, this is where I'm at as an artist. Like, there are two things, there's a big thing I'm not gonna do for anyone anymore. I'm not gonna audition for anyone anymore.
Mm,
I've already auditioned. I've already proven myself. I'm going to be inducted into the Entertainment Hall of Fame tomorrow. My family's going to be there. I have had decades of accomplishments up and down my Wikipedia and on Grok, on X. You can check it out. I've accomplished a lot. So I'm like, at this point, I don't want to audition for anyone.
mm,
Okay. I'm here to share my gifts of what I love to do. Share, like, give you a gift. My music, my performance, whatever it is, I'm going to give you a gift. And I'm not responsible for if somebody grabs the cake and like goes, "Oh my God, I love it. Thank you." Or if they go, "Smash it, garbage." Okay. I'm not responsible for how the other person treats my gift.
yeah.
I'm only responsible for giving the gift. So that's where I'm at as an artist. Another place I'm at as an artist is that I am enough. And I need everyone to say it with me. I am enough. You are enough. We are enough, just as we are. This is my new message.
I love that.
My old message used to be, I'm enough and you're not.
Very sassy. I like it still.
But it was pretending. I didn't really believe it. It takes a long, long time. And I go in and out of that idea. You know what I mean? But that's the idea. That's where you want to live as a human being, I believe, as an artist, especially. And the cats taught me that. I have two cats.
Mm.
I have Willow and Max.
Oh,
One is a ragdoll, one is a Maine Coon.
ooh.
These cats, angels from God. Like he
Mm.
gave them to me as a gift for my I don't know why, because he loves me. And I have these two cats. I have these two angels at home. And what they taught me is that they are perfect just the way they are, even with all of their imperfections, like the spirit inside them. We talked about spirit today, right? We talked about how it never dies, how it never ages, how it's perfect. Like it's who we are.
Hmm.
That is enough,
Yeah.
period. Your outside, your face will age, everything will decay, all that stuff, but your spirit will live forever. And that is enough, period. My cat is enough. That's just the way it is. So I thought to myself, well, if I think that about my cat, then perhaps I can think that way about myself. You know what I mean? If I can love my cat that much, perhaps I can do that to give that sort of energy back to myself.
And it's a good energy to have, I believe. Because cat energy, when you're in the downest days, and this is what I find with the cats I've got around me, I've got four of them.
Oh,
And, one's elderly, and then the next two are literally, well, one's 9 the other day, and then I forgot how old the other one is, but then we got a baby who, we rescued from the doorstep because he was just sitting on the doorstep and looking lost for long, and he's excitable. But they've got all their personalities.
they do, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Like at the moment, because the older one, and I say the older one because she is old, she knows every time when I come through the front door from doing a day job on the weekday, 5 o'clock comes, meow, meow, meow. She's expecting food. It's like, leave me, I have 5 minutes to get in, but she's expecting it because that's what she's used to.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if I have to lie in on the weekend, all you hear at 9 o'clock, 9:30, the time where I am, it's like, meow, meow. It's the second oldest cat trying to get the attention just to get through the door because he wants attention.
Yep. They need a lot of attention. They need a lot of love, and they deserve it,
And they
right?
do. They all get equal love.
Deserve it. A lot of love. You got to give them as much love as possible because they're not on the earth for very long.
No.
It's like we aren't, but like they have a very short lives. So,
Even
and
though they're here for a short time, their age is double of what our age is, so they are older.
I don't even want to think about it, right?
No, exactly. I told you.
Yeah, but so we just got to love them really hard. But that's like life, we don't really know the situation about anything. So
So your website, just to clarify, so I can put it in the description, what is your website again?
it's Ricky with a Y, Rebel Rocks at or .com.
So RickyRebel.com. And I'll make sure that gets put.
Rocks.com.
Ricky Rebel Rock. Okay, I'll make sure that gets put in.
Yeah.
But to end this interview, and I could go on and on and on, what would you say to people to pursue their journey? Because obviously people going on their journey in life, whether it's musically, writing, whatever, what would you say to them to help them pursue their journey further?
Okay. What I've learned, I'm on a show every other Friday at 9 a.m. PST. It's called Straight Talk with Ricky Rebel and Dr. Marissa Pay, the Asian Oprah. We talk about how to be grateful in your life. So what I recommend is doing the things that we teach in this show that airs every other Friday at 9 a.m. PST on my Facebook page, or on YouTube channel, Ricky Rebel Rocks. You can come and join us, and we practice every day looking at what we are grateful for in our lives. When we start the day, we do like eight things we're grateful for, and you think about them and you list them off every day, and then the hardest part is 8 things that you like about yourself. That's really hard, or maybe it's not, but it's a very important exercise to do because we're taught to be really humble. We're taught to be very like, oh, don't toot your own horn, or don't be so arrogant, or don't be narcissistic. All these things that we're taught not to be prevents us from really looking at what we like about ourselves. So kind of look at what do you like about yourself? Oh, I'm bold. Ricky's a bold person. Ricky's talented. Ricky's creative. Ricky's smart. Ricky's, all these things I can say now that I am. But it was very difficult for me to do that part of the exercises. So first you list off what you're grateful for about your life, your car, your house, your man, your cats, your clothes, your body, your hair, your eyes. You have eyes. Oh my gosh, you have a nose that breathes. You have lungs that work. I mean, anything. It could be anything. And then you have to think about, okay, what do I like about myself? 8 things every day. Why? Because our brains are wired towards the negative. Like 76% are negative thoughts in our head all the time, regardless, because we're always thinking about what is wrong with things rather than what is right about things. I believe. So if we kind of shift that and balance it out a little bit more, we're going to have happier lives. We're going to be able to create more art with people, be less afraid, be less jealous, be less, all kinds of things that prevent us from really blossoming.
I agree to that. But I'd like to say thank you for sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And I'll make sure all the links for your Facebook, your YouTube, your website is in the description for people to follow your journey further.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Vicky.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Our thanks to our guest for a wonderful journey. And now a couple of messages to share with you.
Hello, I am Amy Harrison. I'm the author of the book Feline Warrior Part 1 and Part 2, a fictional story that is written in a poetic format that is based on real-life events that could happen to anyone and intended only for relatable purposes. This story claws into Catgirl's past abuse. Catgirl is human and part feline, but truly a warrior who can handle anything because she is strong and fierce. She has been taken advantage of for far too long. Join her on her journey as she reaches freedom. Here are some poems from Feline Warrior. Tears flow. I no longer know what to do. I am no longer who I once was, and it is because I made a choice to use my voice, and that is okay, because what I had to say was true, unlike me and you. Now I see. I am free. I am me. I am Catgirl. Ultimately, be you. Always stay true. Do what you want to do, because every day is made new. If you want to read more, visit the link in the description. Meow at you later.
Music by Erica R. from Pixar Bay.
By Tim Parsons. The narrator is Kate Barton. Director and producer, Darren Street. Tim Parsons would like to thank family and friends for their support with the paramedic Chris venture. The series is dedicated to the memory of his father, Reverend David Parsons. Copyright Tim Parsons 2020, all rights reserved. Unauthorized use, copying or sharing of this audiobook is strictly prohibited. This has been a Voice Reel studio production for Tim Parsons.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I've just been listening to the Paramedic Chris children's books on audio again, and I just love it because they've given a tribute in one of them to my dad as well, who passed away a few years ago. I love audio books, and it's great to walk around, and it's great to sit at the computer, if you're out jogging or wherever, to listen to them as well. All 4 of the Paramedic Chris children's books are available on audio book from Amazon. Go and take a listen to them. You won't be disappointed. You'll hear what happens when a community pulls together and supports one another. The best thing is to pop over to my website, paramedicchriskidsbooks.org, and you'll see the links on the shop page. Keep safe, everyone, and thank you for being you.
The Journey podcast explores stories of personal growth, challenges, and life-changing moments. Each episode dives into unique experiences, offering insights and inspiration for listeners navigating their own paths. I believe everyone has a story worth sharing. If you'd like to share your journey with David and others, email your story to wisewords1983@reborn.com, and it may be featured in a future episode.